Okay, so I'm gonna do a video here of the installation of the swing arm and just kind of an overview of the hardware and the pieces that come with it. At this point, it's only available for the arm to swing out on the passenger side and for the weed eater and edger heads to be facing towards the passenger side. So that'll be the way that it installs. Just a quick overview. This is the two towers. This is what holds the motor side, and this has the locking mechanism. This is the actual swing arm itself that everything attaches to. This is the piece that attaches to the ramp dovetail. And then there's some hardware bolts. And I'll show you what the rest of this stuff is. This is the basket for the backpack blower, or for the handheld blower. And then this is the latching system. And in order to install it, I'm assuming it'll be going on a ramp that you bought from me, because that's what it's built for. So it attaches in this location here. So what you'll do is you'll take this nut out and you'll pop this the bracket on, and then you'll put this nut back on. And then there's a clip that grabs here, and then the latch mounts here on the expanded metal. And again, I'm just going to do a video showing how that installs. So this assumes that the ramp is already installed and that you've either ordered this with it or you ordered it after, because it's only just become available. It's $385, including shipping, if you've already purchased one of my ramps. And it's a 2-tier, so that's basically a weed eater edger, more than likely. And then it just comes with a handheld blower basket. There's really not much to this, to be honest with you. This is leftover expanded that I have for when I'm building the ramps. So you know, making it out of any gauge steel just doesn't, you know, there's already plenty of those available out there. This is more of a quick option, low cost for people who are trying to get moving right away. And in later iterations of this swing arm, you'll be able to incorporate your own weed eater and trimmer racks if you want to use some Green Touch or some Equipment Defender. And then I believe they have, you know, blower racks, maybe handhelds, I'm not sure. So I'll purchase those racks and see if I can retrofit this bar to fit it without having to have 100 holes drilled in it for every iteration. But anyways, at the expense of me rambling a bunch, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the tripod and just start the installation. And I'll try to stop and pause and explain little things that I think are necessary, and then we'll just go from there. Okay, so this is the first piece you're going to need, and when these actually start shipping out, this is a prototype that I've already sold. These are just going to be welded on tabs. This won't be here. This was like this so that I could get the adjustments right. And so when you get it in your kit, it'll just have 2 tabs welded on, and then you'll just have to pop on the springs. But this is the first piece that you need. And again, you'll loosen up this bolt here and take the nut off. And I'll show you how that's done. And this mounting hole here, get that piece cranked down. And then you grab this piece here and a 3/8 bolt. Now in this section it helps if you use a clamp. just to prevent it from pivoting when it opens. If you put this clamp on here, tighten it up. You don't have to crush it, just tighten it up. And then you can take the clamp off. Just make sure that the bracket is pulled as close as it can to the edge of the dovetail. So now that piece is on. Next piece is the arm. Half-inch bolts. Just get the hole lined up. You can put this in from the bottom or the top, depending on the level of OCD. And at this point, what I'm doing is I just get the bolts tight enough that the arm still pivots, but that it doesn't swing crazy. So, you know, you can kind of decide how tight you want it to be. Sorry about my hands there. And then once you get it to where you want it to be, I supply another nut that you can just lock in place with this one, similar to the way the hinges for the ramp lock in place. So I'll do that now. Sorry about my horrible camera work. I'm better at building stuff than I am at filming it. Probably better just get 2 wrenches. Okay, and it'll wear in at some point. You can put it tighter or looser, just kind of depending on how you like it. This spring is meant to be installed here and to hold it open so that if you're parked kind of on an angle, it doesn't want to swing back. But you can also control some of that by keeping these bolts tighter or looser depending on, you know, like I said, how you like it. And then you take some more 3/8 bolts, bring the arm all the way out. And these are long enough that you can get them threaded without having to try to compress the spring. So now, you see how that works. Next part to put on is the latch. So I bring you to the other side here. Now for the latch, you need this plate and then this piece here. Doesn't look very pretty. And the way that they install is, you bring the swing arm in, and you'll want to make sure it should be pretty good the way that it is, but what you want to do is just kind of make sure it's not sagging. And you can do that kind of just by lining up, you know, the slots in the expanded metal and just make sure that it's fairly even. You could even use the handles, I guess. In this case, it looks pretty good, so we won't put any pressure on it. And then, let's see here. I'm working with limited space here, so I'm trying to get this as even as I can. So this plate goes on the outside, and I usually just use the top and the bottom bolts. You could use the middles, you could use all of them, it's up to you. I only supply 2 bolts though. And what you do is just kind of put it in where it would be latched, and make sure that your ramp's closed all the way. This one wasn't just now. And then just make sure your gap is the same all the way down, and then you'll just you know, kind of find where it needs to sit. Make sure it's pushed all the way up against here, and then just find your areas where you can bolt to. And it might sit on an angle depending on how your expanded is in there, but it won't affect how it works. Then you put the plate on the other side, and it just kind of gives it a sandwich effect. Forgot the washer on this one. Guess you don't really need those though, because it's 2 flat plates. But and once you're sure you're kind of good and where it's at and how you like it, just tighten them up. And that's that. And obviously this pin prevents it from opening. So now the swing arm is installed, and I'll take you closer so that you can see what I did there. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure everybody will be able to figure it out just fine, but that's the plate on the inside. This is the bracket on the outside. And again, if you work it enough, you can get it to sit perfectly straight. You know, I wouldn't go crazy with it. Just as long as this fits in and out very well. Now, obviously, when the rest of the weight gets put on the arm, you may need to readjust where the latch is. Or you can just, you know, kind of pick up on it a little bit to get it in there. I did consider putting in some little ramping pieces that allow this post to ramp up, but I don't want stuff sticking all out, and I think everybody gets the gist of how it's going to work. So I'll bring you back here, and I'll put the posts on. All right, so the next part you can put on are either the posts on either end, or you can put on the blower rack. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to go ahead and put on the blower rack first. And you'll need to put the bolts in from the back. Sorry, I got interrupted there. So anyway, we're going to do the blower rack, and I'm going to put the bolts in from the back side. So you'll just have to open this rack. And depending on how tight you put your bolts, you may have to hold it because of the spring. But blower rack installs wrong way. Like this, bolts through the back. And these are just same 1/2-inch bolts that everything else has. Where's my stuff? Guess we can use a ratchet. And all of these bolts will come with lock washers, but I'm not using them because I don't want to, you know, bend them before whoever gets this gets to use them. So I'm just kind of doing a dry install. So while the arm is still out a little bit, go ahead and grab one of the posts. And then you can put the other one on. And again, like I said, as of right now, the arm that holds the motor is going to be on the passenger side. I'm going to try to come up with some interchangeable way later, but as of right now, this is it. The blower can be put in either left or right. Not that it really matters, but. Right, so now we got to tighten those up. And that's it. That's the install. And then you just put your equipment on there. I only have a weed eater. I use the combination, so I don't have an actual edger. But you just put that on like that. Put the handle on there, and I can just use this. This was a pole saw that I've converted also to a to the combination design. And then that's how they sit. And then to lock it, you just put a padlock here, and that prevents somebody from taking it. Now, these are not the most secure, and it's not the most sophisticated of designs, but it works. It works quick, and overall, for what you get, it's a pretty good price, I think. So that's that. Come on, camera. That's that. Again, the blower can point the other way, and it should fit all blowers. The other thing is I am gonna weld a plate in here, and I'm just gonna put a piece of chain so that you can you can kind of padlock through the handle. Again, not the most secure way. I mean, if you see how I do mine on my trailer, I've just put these cables on all my pieces of equipment, and I just padlock them. Again, it's it's not the most secure, but it's just, for me, it's just to kind of prevent somebody from being able to walk by and take it. I live in a pretty decent spot, so I don't have theft as an issue, but I do understand that there's people who are super concerned about the security. So I will be making this swing arm to adapt to the equipment defenders and the green touch racks. And then also I am going to be trying at some point in time here, depending on how I got so busy, I didn't really think I was going to sell this many ramps, to do the backpack blower thing. I think the backpack will just be a little too heavy on the swing arm. I'm gonna open it now, and I'm gonna put this back here so that you can see the way that the ramp moves when the arm is opened. And then also I'm going to show you where you got to put some straps to keep it secure. So the ramp is tight already. When you open this, it takes a lot of weight. Now, I'm sure you noticed it dropped. So if you just kind of push it, it's down about a ½ inch. But you open it up, and it puts a lot of pressure on this passenger side, obviously. And when you push down on it, you'll probably see this section of the ramp lifting. So what I've decided is that whenever you are going to use the swing arm, you need to use the straps. In fact, anytime you have this ramp on, you should have the safety straps on there anyway. I do not supply them, but you just need to get a set of ratchet straps like that, and grab it from any side section location. Okay, so here you go. So the ramp was level, and now this piece has lifted off. Now you can readjust this. Again, you do know that the ramp is fully adjustable, so you can adjust a lot of that out of there. And you will have to do another adjustment once you get the swing arm installed on there, because when it's, just because it's sturdy when you put it on there before the swing arm doesn't mean that it's going to sit right afterwards. So I do suggest using the straps. And again, my truck has the toolboxes in it, so I can't get to my corner pockets. But that's where you need to put the straps. I would grab it, somewhere around here and hook it into your corner pockets where the hooks are, so that you can keep the ramp stable on both ends. And anyway, that's about it. So that is how it looks when it's open. And it opens a little bit farther than 90 degrees, just to give you I think you've already seen a video on this, I'm sure, if you're watching this one, but it gives you a little bit more clearance when you're going up and down the ramp. And I'm going to take a few photos now so I can get it posted on the website. And that's it.